and a lie. No matter how many times they're exposed for their fake chains, their fake personas, or their fake lifestyles, they still believe that portraying a life of having an absurd amount of fame and money is the only way fans will look up to them. And honestly, they're not wrong.
This girl tattooed Drake on her forehead. The guy who tatted it is a fucking asshole, though. I will tell you that.
Unfortunately, a lot of brain dead fans get hypnotized by the flashy chains and big wads of cash, so they end up literally worshiping these rappers, making them feel like they're more than just humans, making them feel like gods.
Who does he think he is? I just told you who I thought I was, a god!
Which ultimately gets them caught up in a heightened sense of reality where they're being rewarded for portraying a lifestyle to the world that they don't actually live.
Rappers that rap about the shit that they rap about, they don't live.
Everything from the cars that they don't really own to the houses that are actually Airbnbs, all of it is fake. And it's because rap is one of the only industries where acting like you're rich can actually make you rich.
If niggas think you rich, they give you more money. But if they think you broke, nigga, they ain't giving you shit. They want you to stay broke with them.
All these rappers are kind of just like characters in a game. And the more their fans are able to buy into these characters, the more money they make. And that's why even once they obtain all this wealth, their personas, their lifestyles, and personalities they portray online only get faker. For instance, let's just take two of the biggest gangster rappers out right now, Meek Mill and Lil Durk. Both of these multi-millionaires rap about guns, violence, and spending till they can't spend anymore, perpetuating a lifestyle to their fans that they don't actually live.
Why are you doing bunny hops, Meek? Because you got your ass beat in tennis.
In all reality, they're not in the fucking trenches anymore. They live in these big old mansions where their closet is literally the size of my room. And don't get me wrong, I love the music. I definitely love the fuckery. But I'm able to see that it's all just entertainment. It's obviously all a facade. You'd be a damn fool to think that multi-millionaires who came from absolutely nothing are still willing to throw away their life after making it out. Like, I'm not saying that none of them are real, I'm just saying that a vast majority of them aren't. Hell, look at Gunna and the rest of YSL. They were supposedly the realest rappers in the industry. However, they became the one very thing that they hated the most. A snitch! Because as soon as they got the chance, they quite literally all snitched on Young Thug.
YSL is a music label and a game.
That shit, slide through that murder shit,
Is that true as it pertains to you, Mr. Kitchens?
Yes, ma'am.
And don't get me wrong, I definitely would have snitched too. Trust me, I wouldn't have spent not a single day in jail. But what makes it ironic for him to do it is because Gunna actually claimed to be a gangster.
I'm a real level crip, you know what I'm saying? The slimiest crip you ever met.
And he used his gang, YSL, to further his career. It's essentially what made him the millionaire he is today. And to make it 10 times worse, Gunna and Young Thug actually have a song named Take It to Trial. But as you already saw, Gunna definitely didn't take anything to trial. He snitched on him. Snitched on the man that he once called his twin. It's hypocrisy at its finest. See, at the end of the day, to me, rappers are just entertainers. They're actors. You can't really take what they say seriously. But unfortunately, most of their brain dead fans will never understand that because social media has created a false reality where not only rappers, but quite literally everyone only show themselves at the very best points in their life.
Whole lot of wrecks, man. Whole lot of jumping jacks.
So that's why one-hit wonders like YK Osiris try their absolute hardest to make it seem like they're important by doing anything to be associated and have pictures with some of the biggest rappers in the industry. He made it seem like all these people were his genuine friends and he was living such an affluent life. However, the truth will always come to light.
The baby don't fuck with me no more. Drake don't fuck with me no more. Nobody fucks with Osiris. So why the fuck I keep living? People look at me as a clown. Nigga, I'm a talented person, but that doesn't matter, bro. I don't drop my music. I don't do shit.
In reality, his rapper friends treated him like a joke. All of his flexing online didn't matter because in the industry, people didn't respect him.
You look like a suitcase, YK. You look like a fucking suitcase. You look like a suitcase.
He was hanging around all these celebrities, but you started to kind of notice that he was the only one being exposed for owing them money. Osiris once owed Drake $60,000, he owed Lil Baby $5,000, and he also owed Young Thug money too. However, before this breakdown on social media, he made it seem like everything was just fine, portraying to everyone online like he was still the man. He bragged about buying $300,000 worth of clothes. He also bragged about paying $1,500 for his weekly haircuts.
I get a haircut every 3 days.
And yeah, that all sounded good until you realized that this was really his mentality.
I always been like, if you don't got it, act like you got it.
So that's exactly what Osiris did, because back in 2019, after his biggest song Worth It came out,
Man, I went broke so goddamn quick, man.
but he felt pressure to try and keep up with his image on social media, and most importantly, he wanted to keep up with all of his rapper friends, which is why he owed everyone money.
What did you owe Drake money for?
Basketball.
And what do you owe Lil Baby for? Why you owe so many people money?
In real life, he was broke. However, he continued to portray a fake lifestyle to everyone online. And look, I'm not saying this to make fun of him or be a dickhead, even though he makes it incredibly easy to. YK Osiris is just a prime example of why obtaining fame and money won't solve all your problems.
The biggest drug is fame.
You could think of the most famous person you know, and even they have insecurities. Think of the most wealthy people in the world, and even they have something that they're hiding too.
That motherfucker is crazy, right? Look how pale he is.
No one you see online is fully transparent, which is why it baffles me that people can look at a rapper like this and think that he's actually living the life that he raps about.
Fuck with savages, you a fuck boy, you can't hang.
Meet Slim Jesus, the Hamilton, Ohio native that took over Chicago drill in 2015 for a short period with his song that you just heard named Drill Time, where he talks about, you know, the usual, catching bodies, drugs, and having a lot of guns. He tried to sell this tough gangster street persona to his audience online and surprisingly managed to fool the industry for a good couple of months.
You know, we rockin', we out here on Frank Block, bitch. Where the fuck y'all at? Pull up, bitch.
Although it was extremely obvious that this goofball ass nigga was a fraud, no one was able to confirm it yet because he was just getting in the industry. So with his song Drill Time blowing up, it actually created a lot of positive attention for him. I mean, everybody was talking about Slim Jesus, and people like Birdman and Diddy even wanted to sign him. However, unfortunately, he ruined everything for himself. Honestly, he might have the quickest rise and fall of anyone I've ever covered. Because at the end of 2015, during an interview with DJ Vlad, Slim Jesus spilled all the beans. He let the whole world know who he really was.
You know, when you listen to your music, there's a lot of street stories.
So you better have your gun when we pop up.
Do you have a criminal record at all?
Nah, I'm straight.
Like, how involved were you street-wise in terms of...
For the most part on the street shit, like, I'm not out here catching bodies and shit, obviously. Like, I'm fucking smart.
He finally admitted to the blatant fucking obvious. The lifestyle of pure violence and chaos that he displayed to the public was once again all fake. Big surprise, the nigga that looks like the evil version of Eminem was faking it all along. And that paired with the fact that he lacked actual musical talent was a reason he instantly became a meme. You can't be a Chicago drill artist from the suburbs, so just as quick as his career started, it ended. It all crumbled to the ground in just a matter of months.
Support real hip-hop, bitch.
But one thing you kinda have to respect about Slim Jesus is that when asked, he told the truth. Yes, he portrayed a fake lifestyle to the public, but at least he wasn't living in complete denial. And that's why I respect him a lot more than other artists like Soulja Boy and 6ix9ine, because these two artists right here are definitely living in complete and utter denial. And I'm lumping these two clowns together because they're actually a lot more similar than you would think. Soulja Boy isn't a snitch, but the one thing they do have in common is that they both spark fake beefs with other artists in order to remain relevant when their music just isn't cutting it anymore.
My music is trash.
The purest example of this is when 6ix9ine got exposed for trying to pay Lil Durk $3 million to fake beef with him.
That bitch ass nigga label called me, talking about they'll give me $3 million to keep trolling with this nigga, right? So I ain't gonna never respond to this nigga ever fucking again, right?
And honestly, this shouldn't come as a shock to anyone because literally everything is fake about 6ix9ine. Everything from his teeth to his hair, and most importantly, the lifestyle that he rapped about was all fake. See, 6ix9ine understood that in order for him to have a successful rap career, he also needed a gang around him for protection. So that's exactly why he joined the 9 Trey Bloods.
2, 2, 3, halfway up, close that, some gang buck that, friendly, that.
He funded all their gang activities, and in return, they gave 6ix9ine protection. Most importantly though, they gave him all the confidence in the world to start up fake beefs with rappers like Chief Keef, Lil Durk, and Casanova.
Fuck all them niggas. Fuck y'all niggas talking about, nigga. This fucking Treyway, nigga.
Because anytime he threatened to shoot one of these rappers, 6ix9ine didn't have to go do it. He just paid his gang to do it. However, he betrayed to the world that he was just some sort of super gangster, and ironically called out every other rapper for being fake. But when they all got caught up by the police, you already know what happened. He snitched on them, threw everyone under the bus, wiped his hands clean of the gang like he had no involvement in the fuckery, like he wasn't the one fueling it. 6ix9ine involved countless amounts of people into his pointless beefs in order to improve his career. But when he got caught, he shitted on all the people that helped him become so big. And when he removed the snitching aspect of it, Soulja Boy is currently doing the exact same thing. Since he can't make good music anymore, Soulja Boy now sits in his mansion and randomly starts fake beefs with other rappers in order to keep his name relevant.
We promoting violence, nigga. Fuck you talking about murder, destruction, death, and destruction and mayhem, nigga.
He said this dumbass shit about a month ago in an attempt to try and spark up a fake beef with NBA Youngboy because of Youngboy's Stop the Violence campaign.
It's a bigger side of life. Stop the violence.
Obviously, this campaign had nothing to do with Soulja Boy's dumbass, yet he decided to prop his phone up and yell on Instagram Live about it.
I'm one of the last straight rappers in the game, nigga. We promoting beef, we promoting violence.
It's like he's just begging for attention. Keep in mind, this is a 30-year-old man that was once actually the face of hip-hop. And now the same man is sitting in a multi-million-dollar mansion where he's promoting violence while the people in the hood are begging for it to stop. You just have to see the hypocrisy in that. Soulja Boy obviously isn't the big bad gangster that he portrays to be online. And I'm not just talking on my ass either. A couple weeks ago, I did a poll and even y'all agree with me. To be honest, he's a fucking clown. He's just an actor starring in a movie where he's the main character and no one else matters at all. It's crazy how some of the biggest and loudest voices can unfortunately end up being frauds. And believe it or not, but the most fraudulent man of them all is actually Rick Ross. Because he's the only one on this list that has ever been accused of his whole identity being fake. Everything from his rap name to his backstory was all allegedly stolen from someone else. Essentially meaning that Rick Ross isn't actually Rick Ross. The big man that raps about his criminal past to being this big old drug lord didn't actually live that life at all.
Technically, he's never sold drugs.
Because the real Rick Ross isn't a rapper.
The rapper had already took my name, you know, and used it and didn't do jack shit for me.
Meet the man who Rick Ross stole his whole identity from. A man known as Freeway Ricky Ross, who was a big time drug kingpin all the way back in 1982 with a huge infatuation for cocaine.
So when my friend introduced me to cocaine for the first time, I just fell in love with it.
And by 1985, Freeway Ricky had claimed to be making anywhere from $1 million to $3 million a day from selling mass amounts of cocaine. But of course, if he's just openly able to tell this story, you already know what happened.
Freeway Ricky helped trigger an epidemic of human misery.
Ricky unfortunately went to prison after getting caught trying to buy 100 kilos of coke from an undercover police officer. And on September 5th in 1990, he got sentenced to 27 years in prison. But years later, around 2006, while he was still in jail, he noticed that there was a bigger, fatter person stomping around claiming to actually be Rick Ross.
I had a book club while I was there, so this youngster brought me a magazine and they had the guy on there with his mouth open and all these gold chains and a beard, you know, and he was saying that his name was Rick Ross.
And at the time, this person was also rapping about his past of being a huge cocaine drug lord that amassed millions of dollars from his drug empire. Sounds pretty fucking familiar, right? Well, Freeway Ricky Ross coincidentally thought the same damn thing. So after he got out of prison in 2009, just a year later, Ricky filed a lawsuit against the rapper Rick Ross for stealing his image, name, and likeness and using it to fuel his extremely successful rap career. He claimed that the rapper Rick Ross stole his name and identity because Ricky's actual government name is Rick Ross. So obviously it started some confusion and the question became,
where you get that name from, man?
I got on the name like 10 years ago when it wasn't about that.
Rick Ross continually denied that his name derived from Ricky Ross, and in court he even said that his name actually came from a mispronunciation of his high school nickname, Big Boss. And as unbelievable of an excuse that was, Ricky's $10 million lawsuit against the rapper Rick Ross didn't stick.
Did you lose the lawsuit?
Both of us lost. He lost about $1.5 million. And so the judge ordered me, I'm supposed to give him $500,000 back. So if they ever come for it, I'm gonna give it to him in quarters.
However, Rick Ross definitely didn't leave the situation scratch-free, because during the court case, Ricky exposed Rick Ross's real past to being a prison guard. Ricky let the whole world know that in 1995, he was actually a correctional officer at a prison in Florida for 18 months, meaning that he would go to the prison and lock the real drug dealers up, which is completely at odds with his drug lord past that he liked to rap about.
He raps about selling drugs,
right?
And he never sold drugs.
So this stigma stuck with him for the rest of his career. And every time he was asked about being a CO, he kind of just ran around the question.
Was Rick Ross in his lifetime a corrections officer?
Rick Ross done did it all to get money.
It's a hilarious and crazy fucking story. A prison guard took the name and identity of a drug kingpin, and it actually worked. Because in all reality, the rap industry is just about faking it till you make it. So if you want to hear more about fraudulent rappers, click the video on the screen and see how Soulja Boy turned from a pop star to a fake gangster.
If you make it to the top of the rap game, you get to live a lifestyle that most people only dream about. And today, we're breaking down the wildest, most expensive homes that rappers own. Jay-Z and Beyonce. Jay-Z and Beyonce are two of the richest artists in the world, and they proved it by breaking the record for buying the most expensive house in LA history. They paid $90 million for the mansion, but that's nothing for a billionaire couple like Jay and Beyonce. Their crib has 8 bedrooms, 11 bathrooms, a 15-car garage, and separate living area where their staff can stay. A lot of rappers ball out in dope houses, but having your own staff living on your property is a different level. There's also a private theater, 4 different swimming pools, and a basketball court. But this isn't even the only house they own. They also bought Beyonce's childhood home in Houston for $500,000, a $6.5 million loft in Tribeca, a house in Miami worth around $9 million, and probably way more real estate that fans don't even know about. When you make it to billionaire status, there's not much you can't buy. Jay and Beyonce own at least 3 mansions, but when you ballin' that hard, you probably don't even notice it in your bank account. Swiss Beats and Alicia Keys. If you're a superstar couple like Swiss Beats and Alicia Keys, you can pretty much live wherever you want. Keys is famous for Empire State of Mind, and Swiss came up in the Bronx, so fans were surprised when they decided to buy a $20 million West Coast mansion. Razor House was built by a famous architect named Wallace E. Cunningham, and its design is so crazy that it's actually what Tony Stark's crib from the Iron Man movies is styled after. It's been called an architectural masterpiece and America's coolest home, and now it belongs to 2 of the most influential artists in the game. Keys says the house is a place to create dreams and to be bold enough to dream your wildest dream. For us to even be here is a wildest dream. It turns out that Swiss had his eyes on this place for a while. He had a picture of it as his phone screensaver for 8 years, and he told Architectural Digest, "I was low-key manifesting it. When your screensaver comes to life, it's unbelievably crazy." The house is almost 11,000 square feet, and every room is full of artwork and furniture that costs more than people make in a lifetime. And in the garage downstairs, you can see a Ferrari Enzo, LaFerrari, and a Ferrari SF90 all lined up together. Owning any mansion is a dream, but Swiss Beats and Alicia Keys are living like superheroes now. Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre is a legend in the rap game who discovered huge artists like Eminem and 50 Cent, but he's even better at business than music. He started Beats by Dre, which Apple ended up buying for $3 billion back in 2014. In that same year, he celebrated the success by throwing down $40 million on a house that Tom Brady used to live in. Brady and his wife bought the land for $11 million in 2009. Then they designed the 22,000 square foot mansion and had it built for around $20 million. When they decided to move out, they put the house up for a wild $50 million. But Dre made some moves and got 10 mil knocked off the bill. This place is more like a castle than a house. There's even a moat and a bridge you have to cross just to get on the property. It has 6 bedrooms, 7 fireplaces, a library, and a waterfall next to the driveway. But apparently, that still wasn't enough for Dre. The house already had a basement, but Dre built a 10,000 square foot basement below the first one and turned it into a recording studio. Swiss Beats and Alicia Keys have Iron Man's house, but Dre's place is more like a supervillain's crib. Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne spent most of 2020 locked down with his ex, Denise Bidot, in a rental house. So when Donald Trump pardoned him for his weapons charge in 2021, Wayne decided to celebrate by throwing down over $15 million on a new mansion in LA. His new place is in a gated neighborhood called Hidden Hills. The main house is over 10,000 square feet with huge bedrooms and a private theater. And it's not like Wayne can just walk into a public gym to work out, so he built a private fitness room too. Having a mansion all for yourself is cool, but when it's time to turn up, Wayne just has to call the neighbors. Drake, Dwayne Wade, and a couple of the Kardashians have their own places just down the street. The Weeknd used to live right across from Wayne's new crib, but he put his place up for sale last year for a crazy $22 million. Wayne's house also has a massive 3-acre yard, and there's horse trails all around the neighborhood. Around half the people in Hidden Hills have horses on their property, so it's like living on the most exclusive ranch in the world. Machine Gun Kelly. Machine Gun Kelly is trying to switch it up and become a rock star right now, but he started out as a rapper. And earlier this year, he balled out and bought an LA mansion worth almost $8 million. He got the 8,000 square foot house from his homie Logan Paul back in April for $7.5 million. The original price tag was $9 million, so MGK actually ended up getting a good deal on it. There's a lot of $1 million homes in LA, but MGK's new crib is wild. It was designed by a dude named Robert Bird in the 70s, who built some of the craziest and most expensive homes in LA. The mansion has 7 bedrooms, 8 bathrooms, 4 fireplaces, and a ton of space to throw parties and show it off. The house is nuts, but everything else on the property is just as crazy. Now MGK is flexing a giant pool, a fish pond, and a huge guest house that was turned into a private gym. He's also got a new 6-car garage to park his Aston Martin, Rolls Royce, and Lambo in. Before he bought the new place, MGK was spending over 30 racks a month on a rental house for him and Megan Fox. 7.5 mil is a lot of cash, but at least now, he's not just throwing 30K a month away on rent. But if his pockets ever start getting light, at least Megan can throw around some of that Transformers money. Travis Scott. Travis Scott blew up fast and became one of the hottest rappers in the game, and now he's showing off how hard he can ball. He bought a huge mansion in LA and paid $23.5 million in cash. The house is over 16,000 square feet and was designed to look like a modern yacht, with massive balconies and an open floor plan. Travis likes to throw down, and he's got plenty of space to party. There are 7 bedrooms, 11 bathrooms, a huge theater, 2 bars, a gym, and a game room, plus a temperature-controlled wine room that fits 650 bottles. Most houses have a garage at the bottom, but Travis's crib has a 20-car garage on the roof. Below that is a 75-foot infinity pool, which has a custom speaker system so you can bump music underwater too. Travis also owns a $19.4 million mansion with Kylie Jenner in Beverly Hills. But since they split up, he obviously had to treat himself to a new crib that's even crazier than the last one. Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj went through a wild early life to become one of the biggest rappers in the game. Her dad was addicted to crack and burned her house down when she was a kid. But now, the New York Times is calling her the most influential female rapper of all time. And Nicki's able to ball out on a new house worth $10 million. According to some sources, Nicki's worth around $80 million. So even after she bought the LA mansion, her pockets definitely aren't light. Her place is in a Beverly Hills neighborhood called The Flats, which is one of the most exclusive areas in the city. She actually owns another house in Beverly Hills too, but her crib in The Flats is one of the wildest homes owned by a rapper. Nicki's husband, Kenneth Perry, and their son are the only people who live there. But this place has room for way more. It has 6 bedrooms, 8 bathrooms, plus a giant guest house for people staying over. There's also a custom pool with a private spa, so Nicki can wild out and throw legit Hollywood parties. Dropping 10 mil on a house is crazy, but Nicki's definitely earned a lifestyle. She started at the bottom and fought her way to the top, and now she's living it up in one of the coolest neighborhoods in LA. Kanye West. Kanye isn't just one of the biggest rappers of all time, he's one of the biggest celebrities, period. So after Kim Kardashian and him split up, he was able to drop 4.5 mil on the house across the street from their home without even thinking about it. Kanye has been talking about getting the family back together, but an insider told the New York Post that he just bought a new house to be closer to his kids. They said it's just simple logistics so that he's close to his children and has access to them at the drop of a hat. It's a nice place with 5 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms, but it's nothing like the mansion he lived in with Kim. So now he's tearing the whole thing down and building something fresh. Ye also put down $57 million on a place in Malibu that's only 30 minutes away, but it's still under construction and won't be ready to live in for a while. Owning 2 mansions in the same area is wild, but it's also exactly the kind of craziness that Kanye is known for. Drake. A lot of rappers buy huge houses, none of them are flexing as hard as Drake. He put a piece of property in Bridle Path back in 2016 for around $6 million, and then built one of the craziest houses in Canada on top of it. No one knows exactly how much a 35,000 square foot mansion really costs, but estimates put it above $100 million easily. Drake told the Architectural Digest, "Because I was building it in my hometown, I wanted the structure to stand firm for 100 years. It'll be one of the things I leave behind, so it had to be timeless and strong." Drake's 3,200 square foot bedroom is bigger than most people's house, and every room in the crib is stuffed with priceless artwork. Everyone knows Drake loves basketball, so he built an NBA-sized indoor court inside his house. You already know, it also has a recording studio, so Drake never has to step out of the crib. He owns a few different million-dollar properties, but his crib in his hometown is definitely the craziest owned by any rapper alive. The Toronto mansion is wild, but Drake is flexing out in California too. Back in 2015, he hopped on Future's track Where You At and said, "I'm self-made, selfish with my women, self-employed. I'll buy the neighbor's house if they complain about the noise." That's a hard line, and Drake let everyone know he wasn't capping when he threw down over $2 million to buy the neighbor's house next to a $7 million mansion in the Hidden Hills neighborhood. A lot of rappers flex how much money they have, but Drake took it to the next level with this move.
Curtis James Jackson III, known professionally as 50 Cent, is an American rapper, actor, television producer, songwriter, record producer, and businessman. Known for his impact in the hip-hop industry, he's been described as a master of the nuanced art of lyrical brevity. He has sold over 30 million albums worldwide and won several awards, including a Grammy Award, a Primetime Emmy Award, 13 Billboard Music Awards, 6 World Music Awards, 3 American Music Awards, and 4 BET Awards. As an actor, 50 Cent appeared in the semi-autobiographical film Get Rich or Die Tryin' in 2005, the war film Home of the Brave in 2006, and the crime thriller film Righteous Kill in 2008. He was ranked the 6th best artist of the 2000s and the 3rd best rapper behind Eminem and Nelly by Billboard. Rolling Stone ranked Get Rich or Die Tryin' and In the Club in its list of the 100 best albums of the 2000s and 100 best songs of the 2000s at number 37 and number 13 respectively. 50 Cent has an estimated net worth of $45 million US. About 50 Cent's early life. Curtis James Jackson III was born on July 6, 1975, in the borough of Queens, New York City, and raised in its South Jamaica neighborhood by his mother, Sabrina. A drug dealer, Sabrina raised 50 Cent until she died in a fire when 50 Cent was 8 years old. After his mother's death and his father's departure, he was raised by his grandparents. 50 Cent began boxing at age 11, and when he was 14, a neighbor opened a boxing gym for local youth. When I wasn't killing time in school, I was sparring in the gym or selling crack on the strip, he remembered. At age 12, 50 Cent began dealing narcotics when his grandparents thought he was in after-school programs, and he brought guns and drug money to school. In the 10th grade, he was caught by metal detectors at Andrew Jackson High School. I was embarrassed that I got arrested like that. After I got arrested, I stopped hiding it. I was telling my grandmother openly, I sell drugs. On June 29, 1994, 50 Cent was arrested for selling 4 vials of cocaine to an undercover police officer. He was arrested again 3 weeks later, when police searched his home and found heroin, 10 ounces of crack cocaine, and a starting pistol. Although 50 Cent was sentenced to 3 to 9 years in prison, he served only 6 months in a boot camp and earned his GED. He has said that he didn't use cocaine himself. He adopted the name 50 Cent as a metaphor for change. The name was inspired by Kelvin Martin, a 1980s Brooklyn robber known as 50 Cent. He chose it because it says everything I want it to say. I'm the same kind of person 50 Cent was. I provide for myself by any means. 50 Cent is 6 feet tall or 1.83 meters tall. About 50 Cent's personal life. On October 13, 1997, 50 Cent's girlfriend Shaniqua Tompkins gave birth to son Marquise Jackson. Shaniqua Tompkins later sued Jackson for $50 million in 2009, saying that he promised to take care of her for life. The suit, with 15 causes of action, was dismissed by a judge who called it an unfortunate tale of a love relationship gone sour. The two have bickered for many years and have even taken their feud to social media many times. Marquise's birth changed 50 Cent's outlook on life. When my son came into my life, my priorities changed because I wanted to have the relationship with him that I didn't have with my father. He credited his son for inspiring his career and being the motivation to go in a different direction. Despite this, the two have endured a fractured relationship that began when 50 Cent and Shaniqua Tompkins separated in 2008. Their feud has been taken to social media numerous times, including in 2020 when 50 Cent disclosed that he used to love his son. He has a tattooed Marquise with an axe on his right bicep. The axe is because I'm a warrior. I don't want him to be one, though. 50 Cent dated model Daphne Joy and had his second son, Sire Jackson, with her on September 1, 2012. At the age of 2 years, Sire Jackson modeled for KidSafe, a headphone brand for kids, earning $700,000 through his contract. Despite having numerous songs that reference drug and alcohol usage, 50 Cent remains teetotal, citing a bad experience with alcohol as his main reason. Forbes noted 50 Cent's wealth in 2007, ranking him second behind Jay-Z in the rap industry. The mayor of Bridgeport, Connecticut, declared October 12, 2007, 50 Cent Curtis Jackson Day, honoring the rapper with a proclamation and a key to the city. In November 2009, 50 Cent won a lawsuit against Taco Bell over the fast food chain's use of his name without permission. On October 22, 2020, 50 Cent was honored by Haut Living along with Watches of Switzerland in a celebratory affair that included a signature piece of artwork given to him by Jojo Anavim, a hip-hop style violin performance by Edward W. Hardy, and Initio Parfums Privis gifting 50 Cent a bottle of Ode for Greatness. Jeffrey Hirsch, Aldous Hodge, and Alicia Quarles were among the guests congratulating Jackson on all of his accomplishments. About 50 Cent's career. Born in the South Jamaica neighborhood of Queens, 50 Cent began selling drugs at age 12 during the 1980s crack epidemic. He later began pursuing a musical career, and in 2000 he produced Power of the Dollar for Columbia Records. However, days before the planned release, he was shot and the album was never released. In 2002, after 50 Cent released the mixtape Guess Who's Back, he was discovered by Eminem and signed to Shady Records under the aegis of Dr. Dre's Aftermath Entertainment and Interscope Records. With the aid of Eminem and Dr. Dre, who produced his first major label album, Get Rich or Die Trying, 50 Cent became one of the world's best-selling rappers and rose to prominence as de facto leader of the East Coast hip-hop group G-Unit. In 2003, he founded G-Unit Records, signing his G-Unit associates Young Buck, Lloyd Banks, and Tony Yayo. 50 Cent had similar commercial and critical successes with his second album, The Massacre, which was released in 2005. He underwent musical changes by his fifth album, Animal Ambition, in 2014, and is currently working on his sixth studio album. As an actor, 50 Cent appeared in the semi-autobiographical film Get Rich or Die Tryin' in 2005, the war film Home of the Brave in 2006, and the crime thriller film Righteous Kill in 2008. He executive produced and starred in the television series Power from 2014 to 2020 and is slated to produce its spin-offs. About 50 Cent's real estate. In 2003, 50 Cent bought a 52-room mansion in Connecticut. The 17-acre property featured a 50,000-square-foot residence with 25 bathrooms, 21 bedrooms, a gym, a casino, and a nightclub. He bought the house out of foreclosure from a bank that had recently evicted the previous owner, Mike Tyson. 50 Cent paid $4.1 million for the property, then spent an additional $6 million on various upgrades that included adding a private movie theater, an infinity pool, and a helicopter pad. In 2007, 50 Cent attempted to offload the home for $18.5 million. That was without success. He lowered the price all the way down to $4.9 million in September 2018, again without any takers. In April 2019, he finally sold the home for $2.9 million. That's an 84% discount to his original offer price and a $1.2 million loss compared just to his purchase price. About 50 Cent's car collection. 50 Cent owns or has owned a Rolls-Royce Cullinan, a Bentley Mulsanne, a Rolls-Royce Phantom, a Mercedes-AMG G63, a Bugatti Chiron, a Pontiac G8, a Ferrari 430, a Range Rover Sport, a Chevrolet Suburban, a Lamborghini Murcielago, a Rolls-Royce Ghost, a Maserati MC12, a Lamborghini Urus, a Rolls-Royce Wraith, a Lamborghini Aventador SV, a Ferrari Enzo, a Rolls-Royce Phantom Drophead Coupe, a Lamborghini Aventador Roadster, and a Ferrari FF. Well, that's the end of today's celebrity video. Thanks so much for watching. Go ahead and give us a like, and don't forget to subscribe. We want to make sure that you don't ever miss any of our great celebrity content.
Here are some rappers who are ready for their ops. First, we'll start with Pooh Shiesty. Pooh Shiesty is a Memphis menace that shouldn't be tested because he's always on go. From starting an entire trend wearing Shiesty masks to nearly facing life in prison, he definitely left his mark on the rap game. But in this one situation that took place on October 9th, 2020, showed us that he really isn't one to be played with. From the initial looks of the footage, you'd think this was a music video with all of the foreign cars and bags of money, but it definitely wasn't. Once the vehicles pulled in and parked, you could see men get out of the vehicles to meet, but moments later, a man in a black shirt along with a man in a white shirt pull out weapons and start firing at the other guys. Both of the men then retreated to the Maybach, and seconds later, both the Maybach and McLaren sped away while one man was seen stumbling while trying to walk toward the other Mercedes. It was later released that the rapper originally met with these guys to purchase drugs and shoes, but ended up shooting and robbing them. After the situation, the feds linked a few of
Shiesty's Instagram pictures of him holding money and weapons to the same money and weapons involved in the incident. Just days later, on October 13th, the Memphis rapper turned himself in and was booked into Turner Guilford Knight Correctional Center, where he later bonded out for $30,000. Now, what exactly led to them getting in this massive shootout, nobody knows, but what we do know is that Shiesty was definitely ready for his ops. But if you thought that was wild, the next artist is notorious for defending himself when in a sticky situation. DaBaby is always in something. It could be a shootout in a grocery store or a fight at a concert. It's very likely DaBaby is behind it. On Friday, April 15th, DaBaby posted a popular clip from a movie, Paid in Full, confirming that he just shot a guy that allegedly intruded into his North Carolina home. He captioned the post, "Chose not to take a life the other day, and it felt great, but he ain't deserved to go. I stepped righteously. Heal up and live, my boy. Just don't bring your ass back." After DaBaby shot this guy, he called 911 and calmly spoke to the operator, explaining the situation.
Okay. And what's going on there? Guys trespassing on my property. Here you go. Sir, what did you do? I shot him in his leg. Okay. And why did you do that? He's trespassing on my property, calling me by my name. I don't know what he's here for, what he's here to take, what he's here to do, but he's shot his leg. He's neutralized. He's neutralized until you guys get here.
Once the police showed up, they found the intruder lying on the ground, suffering non-life-threatening injuries. But that was back in April. DaBaby hasn't been in any trouble since then, and it's so surprising that it's even an entire Twitter page tracking his behavior. This next rapper is from Chicago though, so you already know how they get down. Lil Durk. In the past year, Durk and Youngboy have been beefing hard. From diss tracks to bounty rumors, these two have run the mainstream media. But things got real for the Inglewood native around this time last year. On July 11th, 2021, Durk and his fiancée, India Cox, were resting their heads in their Georgia mansion while they received a rude awakening. Law enforcement told TMZ that around 5 a.m., several unidentified individuals ran into Durk's home and tried to rob the two. Durk and India grabbed their guns and fired back, but luckily no one was injured. Durk later confirmed this in a song he dropped titled "Piss Me Off," when he said, "Niggas ran inside my crib, but the Glock 10 was by my bed. I'll give my gun to India before I put it in your hand." He also confirmed it on his song "Shootout at My Crib." In the chorus he says, "Just dead ass had a shootout at my crib. I hired guards." India is a true ride or die for not folding under pressure. I'm just glad the two are safe and nobody was hurt. The next rapper was on Instagram Live when he got into a shootout. Snap Dogg. Snap Dogg is a Detroit native that blew up in the mid to late 2010s. He came up pretty hard. His dad went to prison, forcing the young rapper to sell drugs to help his mother out. His brother was also killed at an early age after being shot during an attempted home invasion. And when he was only 17, he got locked up and was facing 25 years in prison, but he eventually beat the case. After this scare, he decided he wanted to take rap more seriously. He later signed to Chief Keef's Glow Gang label and took off with his career. He had a unique way of gaining attention though. Back in 2016, he posted a video of himself pulling up in a car and shooting real guns as if he was performing a hit on someone.
You shot real guns for that video shoot?
Yeah. But afterwards, you could see a cameraman and other guys standing around, so it was pretty clear that it was just a video shoot. Not too long later, the police showed up, shut the shoot down, and started to arrest everyone out there.
Hey, if y'all see, the cameraman was right there, but the police arrived.
They came right after that, right?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because I ain't give a fuck. I'm shooting real guns. I know I ain't hitting none of my niggas. I'm just shooting.
But that was nothing compared to the next clip. In this one, he was on Instagram Live with some of his friends posted on the block. They were getting into heated arguments with people on live until someone in the distance yelled, "Who's Snap Dogg?" The Detroit artist replied, "I'm Snap Dogg. What's happening?" Then he immediately dropped the phone, grabs his gun, and starts to fire it at the ops while the live video recording continues. He later admitted that even though these clips brought a lot of attention to his music, they also brought a lot of attention from the police, which he isn't too fond of. The next artist was getting something to eat when the ops pulled up. Young Blue. Young Blue is a rapper from Mobile, Alabama that blew up crazy after he and Drake collabed on his song, You're Mine Still. Him and his team were chilling, waiting on some food to be ready when some unidentified suspects pulled up and tried to rob them. But Young Blue and his crew were ready for all the smoke. A large shootout broke out, leaving Blue's manager grazed. Nobody else had any injuries and nothing was taken from the rapper, so they were really on point. The rapper and his crew immediately